Hi, I'm Mark Lawson with ECS Publishing Group, and we are very happy today to be joined by Dominick DiOrio, who is known as a composer and also as a conducting professor at Indiana University. And Dominick has released a new piece with us called We Reply. We're great. It's just a great chance to have an opportunity to talk with him. I should also mention that he is currently the president of the National Collegiate Choral Organization as well. So he wears many hats. So welcome, Dominick.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm excited to talk about this piece with you.
That's great. That's great. Tell us a little about your position at Indiana, in case people don't know you. I know you conduct several different ensembles.
Yeah, so the main ensemble I direct here is called Notice, which is a chamber group devoted to new music, right? Chamber vocal ensemble. And we were going to perform at the World Symposium in New Zealand this past summer, but of course, as everything was, it was canceled. So, but I also teach conducting, and I teach musicianship classes like ear training and score reading to our conducting majors. And I'm just thrilled to be able to, with my job with Notice, put a spotlight on living composers and share their music as far and as wide as we can.
Good, good. Well, let's talk about the piece We Reply. Tell me about the genesis of this piece.
Yeah, so Brett Carlin, who is artistic director of the Master Chorale of South Florida, commissioned me to write a work. And we wanted originally to have it as part of a Leonard Bernstein 100th celebration concert, which included some of Bernstein's texts. But we couldn't get permission from the Bernstein Trust to use his famous reply to violence text. So we decided instead to have me craft my own text in a similar spirit that is clearly distinct from the Bernstein text. And so We Reply arose out of a combination of using the Shema and Hashkivenu texts from the Hebrew tradition. I wrote that composite text and then shared it with Brett, and he was like, "This is great, let's do this." And our deadline had gotten closer and closer and waiting for the Bernstein Trust to get back to us. So I wrote the piece at a rather accelerated pace. And maybe you'll notice that in the piece itself and the kind of energy it has, right? So it was premiered in October of 2018, and it was also going to be featured this past year at the Chorus America conference live before it was, like everything else as well, sort of COVIDized. So I am excited now to have the piece coming out with ECS so that we can have it ready for people to experience and use, because I think it can work in a variety of ways for a variety of ensembles too.
Yeah. Well, I've really been, I've listened to the piece so many different times, obviously, and I've been struck by the many different emotions that are in it. You know, it has a lot of energy, but one of the things is that we cry for help in so many different ways. And you begin with such a striking energy and a kind of a, I don't know how to describe that first opening. You know, it's a cry for help. It's a plea for help. Yeah. So kind of talk about what you were thinking as you went through those emotions.
Yeah, so I was thinking about what it means to reply to something, right? And we can reply in many ways, but usually we're replying because there's something we're unhappy with, right? Something that's forcing us to have a response to maybe a world we didn't expect to be perhaps contemporaneous. But the piece begins with this, right? And so it has this underpinning of restlessness. And that's balanced by this middle section, which is gorgeous and almost a cappella with little interjections from the strings. And I wanted to transform that restless energy into sort of positive, hopeful, optimistic energy by the end. So the thing that starts in C minor becomes C major underneath this grand unison statement of the chorus towards the end of the piece. And so I was looking to take this full-throatedness, right? To take the quiet plea and transform it into a rallying cry in many ways.
Mm-hmm. I think it was one of the things that's interesting is this piece coming out during this COVID time. And one thing I've thought about is the emotions we've all gone through. Yeah. And how we really understand this different layers of emotions that we have felt as we go through. Sometimes it's, I've got to make this work. And sometimes it's like, I'm giving up.
Yeah.
You know, And you can feel this in the piece. It's just such a different set of emotions as we go through. It's got a wonderful orchestration. I know it can work with keyboard alone, but the orchestration adds a great deal. Talk about what that instrumentation is and maybe what you think is different about performing it with an orchestra than with keyboard.
Yeah, so there are a few options to performing it, right? You could do keyboard alone, which still has that insistent energy. The string orchestra, right, set for 5-part strings, 2 violins, viola, cello, and bass, could be done one on a part strings, or you could have a full string orchestra of any size. The premiere with the Master Chorale had about 100 plus voices and 5 string instruments, and it balanced beautifully, right? That's the recording we have on our website. But I think it could work with 30 strings, with 15 strings, right, if all the parts are balanced, or it could work with piano alone. I had a conducting student here at Indiana, master's student, Jingqi Zhu, who was going to do this piece on her master's recital before it also was canceled due to COVID. So we were experimenting with the kinds of string setup we would use, or piano alone. And the fact that the piece is so adaptable to these many combinations, choirs of any size, really, you could do a choir of 16 or a choir of 120, it would work with the piece. You could do it with 5 strings or no strings or 30 strings. All of it makes the piece really adaptable, and it's fast and energetic and not another slow choir piece. And it's just about 5 minutes long. So it fits well into a program as sort of a starter, a closer, something in the middle to end before intermission. It's really adaptable to any sort of situation. And it ends with a big, bright C major, right? So you get a real sense of conclusion to the end of the piece. It's a great way to sort of put a punctuation mark that you might want at the end of a set.
Yeah. And I think it's a good text that can be used in many different settings. It can be used in church, but it can also work in concert setting as well, I think.
Absolutely. And we constructed the text to be ecumenical in tone, right? So it never quite references any particular faith tradition. It also doesn't reference a gender for God. So this could be a God of any gender, of many genders, whatever faith tradition you're talking about. And the God is also the humanity in all of us. So the divinity and humanity referenced in the text can apply to any sort of situation or faith tradition.
Good. Well, thank you for taking time to talk about it. And I really encourage people to take a look at this wonderful piece. I think it's unique, and I think it has a lot to say. So thank you for your great contributions.
Thank you, Mark. It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
All right. Take care.